broke his ankles and got all the way to the cup.
What is up?
What's going on, Philly? Welcome back.
What is going on?
How is everybody doing? You know, we're coming to you live and direct from the Belly Up Network on the Drunk on Broad podcast. We're
Yes, sir.
glad to be back. Glad to be talking some Sixers tonight on Drunk on the Court.
Yes,
Rich, how you been?
Good, man. Sorry for everyone last week. Literally, as soon as I signed on to the computer, I received a phone call that my uncle passed. So I had to take care of some things. Things are getting better, but I want to give a shout out to my family, my cousins, Chris, Jerry, Helene, little Chris, big Chris, other little Chris, and everybody who's affected. It sucks. Uncle Jerry, you were a great dude. Don, you would have loved him. He was a funny dude, always had that ornery, joking personality, always made everybody laugh. So it was one of those things that it hit hard. And, you know, we're dealing with it. And we're going through every day. And that's all we can ask for. So, you know, to start this off in honor of Uncle Jerry and his legacy, his legendary. They always say legends never die. Uncle Jerry there was only one Uncle Jerry. He was, and he had a shirt made that said "The Real Uncle Jerry." He was the real Uncle Jerry. So, Uncle Jerry, to you, my good man. I know it's not a Coors Light that you would want to drink, but Uncle Jerry, you also like bad beer. So, sorry, bud. Sorry.
Yeah, Rich. Yeah, my thoughts and prayers out to your family. We're
appreciate it, Don. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Those people that are close to you, the feeling doesn't make it hurt less, but it does make you feel like they had you feel the impact that they had on your life. So
yeah. So weird thing before we start. So as soon as I get off, I'm done telling you that I got to go yesterday. So my Uncle Jerry, the love of his life was my Aunt Helen, who was a great woman who passed, I don't know, I'm going to have to say probably 15, 16, 17 years ago, like in that time frame.
Okay.
So Aunt Helen was a great woman. She made like cheesecakes with cherries. Like that was her jam to give us, like that was the treats like she would always make, and they were banging. Yo, Mike, what's up? And no one still can replicate the recipe, and no one even tries because that's how good they were. But as soon as I'm leaving, I hop in my car and I start driving, and for some reason, like my radio's like not turning on right away. So like I turn it off and turn it on. And the first song that I hear is My Chemical Romance, Helena. And I'm like,
stop it.
I'm like, all right, Uncle Jerry's in good hands. He's with Aunt Helen. And I break down and I'm like, son of a bitch. I'm like, this is what's going to get me. This is what's going to get me. One of my favorite songs. But I'm like, you know what? If that doesn't like put my mind at ease in that moment. And I was like, you know what? He's up there with his woman. I'm like, and that's all that matters, dude. Fucking signs, dude. I believe in that stuff. I believe in that stuff.
That karmatic stuff is a huge thing. I was and Rich on a completely different level, having a hard day, right? Same exact thing happened to me. I flip on the radio. What comes on? Guns N' Roses, Patience, right? Like just exactly what I needed in that moment, right? And now it's now like over like the course of like the last week has just become like a go-to when you feel that feeling of things starting to escalate, right? It's a song that kind of just puts me right in a good place. And you're right, Rich. Those signs are there. They're everywhere.
They are there. Gotta listen and open your eyes.
You don't even have to look for them. Sometimes they just kind of
just smack your eardrums.
Oh God, they just find you. Well, Rich. Speaking of signs, if you look across the bottom, you're seeing the sign of some of our sponsors. Scroll across the bottom, the La Terrain luxury watches from good made in the old good old US of A.
US of A.
And I gotta shout out our other sponsor, Team Clicks. if you follow them on social media, they are slowly building a really solid brand. They've been featured with some of the various countries' Olympic teams in providing the eyewear over in China for. I saw the men's hockey team. They had the Miracle on Ice blades. They had some printed up for the Jamaican bobsled team. So they're really, they've got some really cool stuff. So go check out La Terrain Luxury Watches. But Rich, James Harden is a Sixer.
Oh man,
Big news dropped on Thursday. Just before that trade deadline went down. And to be honest, not giving up a ton.
Yeah. I mean, Houston needs to be kicking themselves in the ass because what Houston didn't do last year is hilarious. We were willing to give up Ben Simmons, Maxey, Matisse, and I believe it was multiple ones.
And I thought I heard 2 ones.
Yeah, and multiple ones for James Harden. And Houston was so stubborn and so angry with Daryl Morey. They're like, we're not making a deal for this guy. Oh, we're not trading him to the Sixers. So it makes me laugh knowing that we just got James Harden for essentially Andre Drummond and Seth Curry and a 1 in 2027 that really might be nothing depending on how good this Sixers team really is. You got James Harden for a steal. You got him for a steal. I'm not even counting Ben Simmons in it because he was never going to play for the Sixers again. So that's just an irrelevant spot. Like you got James Harden for Seth Curry and Andre Drummond.
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
You got and Drummond is an expiring contract.
Yep.
Right. Curry is on a really good team. He's a bench player. The picks are essentially irrelevant because anything
can happen.
Even outside of the top 5 in the NBA draft, the NBA draft has almost turned into what the NHL draft is, right? Yeah. Like anything outside of those really top tier 1-2 elite talent is really just a crapshoot. Yeah. And if this team is going to be what we think they are, which is a perennial, finals contender, those picks are going to be in the late 20s and going to be essentially meaningless.
Yeah.
And to be able to now pair Harden with Embiid, you have what could be the best 1-2 punch in the East.
I can't wait to see Embiid and James Harden with the pick and roll. Like I'm so excited to see one of the most. Don's been walking in the streets tonight. He's trying to get it right. Having a little patience. Lacey, that's
the boss lady.
I like it. Boss lady, you did good, kid. You did good. I'm just excited to see a simplified pick and roll offense with James Harden and Joel Embiid and just see how they just destroy the league. Like, it doesn't even have to be an overcomplicated offense. You can just let these two elite basketball players figure it out. And that's what James Harden said when he was asked, hey, how are you and Joe going to be able to play together? And he said, great players figure it out. Those two are going to be a force to be reckoned with in the East. I know the Sixers got boat raced last night by Boston. One game, that doesn't shake me. And that's what a lot of people do, the whole boohoo. I look for basketball, you take it in every 10 games. So that's how I look at sports. It's kind of how I look at the Phillies. I take it like 3 series at a time. They lose 3 series, okay, there's a problem, see where you can go. The Sixers, if they go 8-2 in a stretch, I'm not worried about it. Even if the 2 games are blowouts, who cares? Next 2, 7-3, next 2, or the next 10, 10-0, next 1, 9-1. I'm fine. The Sixers are doing what they're supposed to be doing. You're going to lose games regardless. It's the NBA. They're not the Golden State Warriors from a few years ago. I'm just so excited to see the energy, the intensity, and the scoring that we have been lacking
Yeah.
From Harden. Yes, I loved Seth Curry as a role player and as a three-point shooter. That's pretty much it. I love Drummond as a rebounder. In the playoffs, he would only play about 12 to 14 minutes, right? Coming off the bench to help Embiid. He's a rebound guy. We'll talk about the buyout market in a few minutes. So essentially, we gave up not that much to require a superstar who is going to play 40-plus minutes for us and who can drop 35 to 55 in a night.
Right.
I'm not worried. I absolutely love it.
That backup center role, although, yes, Drummond was probably the best guy you've had in a really long time in that spot, right? At the end of the season, into the playoffs, that player's time, right? That bench gets shortened. Embiid's playing 40 minutes. Drummond may play 8 to 10 minutes, right? So you're going to see them go out and get a guy to fill in that role. But Rich, the pick and roll game, right? That plays into exactly what James Harden does well. And if you go back and look at his playoff statistics, right? Most of the games that I went back and looked at over the course of the last 3 years, right? He's not putting up like Bobo numbers, right? No. Most of the game logs you go back are 30 plus points, 8 to 11 assists, and
about 6 to 8 rebounds. Like he averages 8 rebounds. Like a lot of people sleep on that. Like, okay, yeah, Ben Simmons, oh my God, he would grab 10 boards. James Harden is an underrated rebounder. Yeah. And he gives you 35.
He's giving you 35, but he's filling out the other part of the stat sheet, right? And he's not an elite defender, but he's a competent defender.
Yeah, he's not stupid.
So he's going to be able to, and I'm not going to use the word lockdown, right? But he can defend his player efficiently in order and you're going to have Embiid be able to lock down the center, to be able to defend the rim. You're going to have Thibault on a wing, right? I think you're going to see his defensive prowess elevate.
Exactly. You have Maxey, who is all dog, all hustle. And you have Tobias, who's I love the fact that we could run Harden, Matisse, Thibault, Tobias, and Embiid. Because if, say, you do lack a little bit of defense, Matisse makes up for that. Matisse against the Cavs was amazing. He was back-to-back steals, blocked shots. I think he ended the game, three or four steals? Which by NBA standards, it's not playing video games. It's I had 10 steals in a video game. It's but you got to understand these. And the Cavs aren't a team to be slept on. They have great guard play.
They are a young, up and coming team, right? There were some whispers a couple weeks ago about when LeBron James, when that contract runs out in LA, does he make a third trip back to Cleveland? Because they're going to have that young nucleus with
because he's not going to be able to play GM, Don. He's not
I know, but
getting off the subject of Harden for a second. LeBron James, as much as I love him as a talented basketball player, he is one of the worst GMs in the league. He single-handedly put that Lakers team together this year by getting all his boys that he wanted to come play from the Senior Citizen Center down in Phoenix, Arizona.
From the Drew League.
Blew these guys up from Scottsdale when they were down in Boca Raton, Florida, half of them, wheeling out there in their geriatric chairs. And he's like, let's do a reunion tour, guys.
Straight off the cast of Uncle Drew, right?
Yeah, straight off the cast from Uncle Drew. He's got these guys coming out to play. They can't win. Boo-hoo. Russell Westbrook's the problem. Russell Westbrook's always a problem. That's why nobody wants him on a team. But then when you have LeBron and AD just kind of all right, this dude's nuts and doesn't want to listen. I'm just going to if you ever watch their games and how they interact on the bench is great. Russell Westbrook will try to be talking, and then you'll have LeBron and AD just look this way. Like, it makes me laugh how dysfunctional that is. And the only reason I had to say, because we were talking about him going back to Cleveland and Cleveland having a young nucleus. Mm-hmm. But let's be real. They get LeBron. They're trading Garland. They're trading Karis LeVert. They're trading Jared Allen. And they're going to get both Morris brothers and probably Carmelo Anthony. And that's what they're going to want to do. Like, it's not going to happen. It's not. I don't want to see it.
Right, and I don't think it's going to happen, but the conversation was stirred around the young talent and it being an attractive place to come back to. So where I don't think it's
he's done enough for Cleveland, right. And he's done enough for.
I know
he doesn't need to go back.
He doesn't need to. It was just part of the conversation that they were talking about that being an attractive place.
If he wants to get another ring, what he does is comes to the Sixers.
Well, and what he should have done
was come to the Sixers
originally. Right?
Yes, and then he decided to go to the Lakers.
If they would have, the Sixers could have been that bubble team. They should have
been, because if you see, this is my thing that pisses me off, because I love my Sixers. You see Joel Embiid's game, and you're telling me you don't want to play with him. Like, you being in the NBA, being an elite talent, that's why I love, Harden's like, no, I want to go. I see how great Joel Embiid is. I see what that dude can do.
That was my first choice.
For being 7'2". I see what that guy, I want to go play with that guy. Why? Because Joel is unselfish. He plays every single aspect of basketball.
Right.
And he's a no bullshit guy. He's not a guy like Kevin Durant who
is also that story in The Athletic, where he's playing, GM for the Nets too.
He's playing GM, but he's also playing sourpuss.
Also true.
That's the problem with KD. KD should have never left Golden State, but then he wants to go. The two of the best players are on the Cavs are from Brooklyn, in Karis LeVert and Jared. Why they got rid of Jared Allen was one of the dumbest things, because that dude is a rim protector, a hell of a rebounder, and has figured it the fuck out. But they want to get rid of him because they want to pursue Kyrie. They want to pursue James Harden. So we're just going to patchwork. But we have a bunch of young guys who are talented where they could have probably just taken either Kyrie or Harden. And then you realize Kyrie's a nutcase. And then you realize James Harden doesn't want to play with you. Because James Harden didn't want to play with you when you were on the Thunder. That's why James Harden left. Maybe the skinny assassin or whatever the fuck they call you. I call you no knees, because that's what Kevin Durant is. He ain't got no knees. He's tall for nothing. But he's also one of those guys who just complains and he throws shots. He throws shade. He's one of those guys where he's a Ben Simmons type. The adversity comes, he has to look for an out.
Right.
Joel Embiid, the adversity comes, I'll do better. But guess what? I'm holding myself accountable. I'm holding you accountable. Yeah. If you can't take that, you're a mental midget. Get off my team. Because I don't like that. If I'm holding myself accountable and me and you are on a team, Don, and everybody's telling me that I need to step up and I step up and I'm doing my job, I have the right to tell you you're not doing your job. Because that's what a team is. And if you can't handle that and you can't bounce back and you can't get over the hump of adversity, that speaks to your character, not mine, because I didn't go through the outlets and say, oh, yeah, I'm not happy with this team and blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, I told Ben he needs to do better. And I told him to his face.
Right.
And then what happens? He cowers and folds and wants to take his ball and go home. That's the same thing with KD. They're two guys who are hell of basketball players, but I'm so glad that those two mental midgets are on the same team. Let them figure it out. Because when Ben's press conference was one of the stupidest shits I've ever heard. It was fucking terrible. It was a disgrace. I get the mental health aspect, but being a person who works in that field and has seen what mental illness really does,
right.
He scapegoated shit a lot that I didn't like, and he said a lot of things that rubbed me the wrong way. But he also said in that, besides the mental health aspect, he said in that, I can just go out there and do my job, and I have everybody who can do theirs. So basically what he said was, I'm going to pass and rebound. I'm not going to shoot. Right. So you just traded a guy who can drop 35 at any time for a guy who may give you 6, but he's going to get you 3 extra defensive stops because you have no defenders. So essentially you got nothing.
Right.
Enjoy nothing.
Yeah, I think for me, I look at it and I see, it harkened back to a lot of the interview right at the end of the Hawks game, right? I am who I am. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Right. How many times did you see or did you hear him utter a phrase in that? Right. It is what it is. There were so many times where I saw him in that press conference kind of. And Rich, we know the issues with mental health, and the hard part is that it's it's one of those
struggle
things
every day. I completely understand.
Right, and it's one of those things that hey, what's going on, Chris? It's one of those things that's really difficult to see what someone's mental health is, right? Yeah. But the things that make me very skeptical, right, are the things that the fact that all of a sudden
it's
right
fixed.
that
it's
right
fixed.
now that but in the press conference talking about how it's not the fans, it wasn't the team, it wasn't anybody in particular, right? But then all of a sudden now it's I'm ready to go, I'm going to ramp everything up. So just the consistency of a lot of that doesn't add up for me. But
Don, that was my issue with it, because it was all, oh no, the fans and the team, and I want to thank the organization and blah 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 blah. Doc and me have a great relationship. So if every and then the whole part was, oh well, I needed the help and I can get the help now, or whatever the whole conversation piece was. You think they weren't trying to help you? You think if they came to you, they wouldn't help you? You think that if at the end of the 2020 season that they wouldn't have helped you after the whole bubble season, and then they wouldn't help you last season? They would have helped you if you addressed it. And I understand the whole, people think you're fragile because of mental illness and all that, and you're not a man if you can't speak, like if you can't hold it in. Like, I understand that, and I think it's absurd, it's wrong, and people shouldn't do that to you, because we all suffer in our own ways, and we need to talk about it more. I'm an advocate for that, and I believe it's what can bring you happiness, and it brings to light the problems you're having. But don't use it as a scapegoat and then all of a sudden be smiling the next night that you were traded, when you couldn't even do that to your own team who was supporting you, and your own organization that was supporting you. You didn't show up to games. You didn't show up to the practice facility. But all of a sudden you're traded. You're all smiles. You're taking and participating and shoot around with the guys, and you're bullshitting. And you're getting to know your teammates. It's like, come on, man. Like, right. You're making yourself look like an asshole. And nobody here ever hated Ben. The fans did not hate Ben. Yeah. The only thing we asked of Ben was to, hey, maybe shoot 1 or 2 times a game. That's it.
Rich, you and I don't have to diagnose all the video of the guy in the Hawks series, demonstrate, encouraging him with the foul shots, right? The preseason game where they're playing the team from Australia, and he shoots a 3 and the place almost implodes on itself.
Yeah. They almost rushed the court.
The amount of support for the most meaningless of tasks, right? A jump shot, a 3-pointer, right? Those things
just make your fucking foul shots.
Right? Like I didn't see anybody trying to light him on fire when things were we critical?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. But what we know of the players in this city, that if you play hard, we will love you forever. But if you don't give your all and then you have no character to speak on it,
then that's an issue. And I want you gone.
Right.
I don't want to speak of you. And I'm so happy that after tonight, we don't ever have to mention it.
Right.
That's like my favorite thing is I'm done with this. And it sucks because I have a Simmons jersey, but apparently I can go to Stateside Vodka over
I did hear about that.
And they're giving you a $25 gift card. They said turn your trash into treasure, and it will give you a $25 gift card to either their vodka or their gin. Ooh. So you can get a $25. I know I might take the ride. Probably maybe next weekend. I'll take the white over. Stateside Vodka. I think it's Bluebell. Ooh. So it shouldn't be too far from you, Don.
was going to say, Rich, you may have to mail it to me. Maybe the boss lady and I go take a slide over to turn in our sim. And you know what, Rich? I did hear that. Are they doing? And then they're taking.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
They're taking them up to a shelter in Brooklyn. They're going to pass them out.
Oh, are they?
Something like that.
That's cool. So Stateside Vodka, I apologize. It is not in Bluebell. There's another one. I think it actually is just Bluebell, and I think it's whiskey that I had. Okay. So Stateside is on 17th and Hancock, which is in the old Kensington area. It's right off of Cecil B. Moore Avenue. So I know exactly where that is.
If my brother Tim is listening, maybe I'll send him down. I'll send him on his way down to school.
$25 gift card.
Yeah.
Gotta do
listen, better. Listen, I got 2 of those now that they gotta come out of the regular rotation.
Dude, give one to your wife and one to you. Take the ride down. Get your gift card. Wow. Boom, there's a bottle.
Rich, on that note, guess what I did find in the back of the closet?
What did you find?
I found an old number 1 Sixers jersey. Can you venture to guess the player?
No. No.
All right. We're going to play a little game, Rich.
All right. If it's before the 90s, it's going to be tough.
No, not before the 90s.
Who's number 1?
It was in the process era.
Oh, Jesus. Tony Wharton?
No. He won Rookie of the Year.
You're talking about Michael Carter? Or Michael
Carter Williams.
Michael Carter Williams, MCW.
I have a number 1 Michael Carter Williams jersey.
Oh my God, dude! I remember when he won. I'm like, he's going to be something. Oh, he's.
But I have that, so we'll see if there's a way to figure out how to reuse that jersey. Maybe a solid piece of red duct tape on the back.
Isn't it so funny how all the Rookie of the Years or Rookie of the Years who won for the Sixers have not contributed to the Sixers' success after they won that? I think it's bad. So I'm happy that Maxey didn't win it. I'm happy.
Rich, on that note, the buyout market.
Let's go.
What is the if you had to rank the positions that they address?
I'm gonna have to go probably backup point guard is most essential. And then I'm going center. And then other than that, I'm just going to fill it in. Maybe like another perimeter defender, a shooter. And then that's pretty much it. Like, I'm pretty confident if we just got a backup center. Because I do like B-Ball Paul and I do like Bassey. I'm not, like, mad about those guys. I do think we need, like, a pure, like, a grit guy. Like a scrapper. Like an orthodox center rather than those two. Because I like the athleticism and the effort and hustle from B-Ball Paul. But I think we need a guy with a little more experience. And I know they were talking about on the radio today with Tristan Thompson. I would not be opposed because he's a guy who Salchuna said, hey, he's won before. I'm like, he has won before. And he's a guy that in the playoffs, I got to give him 10 minutes. That doesn't kill me. Just grab me boards. Robin Lopez is another guy. He's not his brother. He's not his brother, but he's a rebounder. So but
he's a rebounder. He's a competent defender, right? And remember, that position is only going to account for what? 8 to 10 minutes in a game, in a playoff game?
Exactly.
So, even if you had, the Enes Freedom, Enes Kanter is another, right? That position, I need somebody serviceable. I don't need somebody to come. You're not playing Embiid and that guy side by side, right? That guy has to spell Embiid at the beginning and end of quarters.
I love Dragic, but
as a backup point guard.
But I know we're not going to get him. He's going to go somewhere else. But he's probably, when I saw he got bought out by the I believe the Mavs.
The Spurs.
The Spurs. Mm-hmm. I was like, all right, but then there were talks that he was going to go to the Mavs. I believe it was.
I did hear that.
So, here's the thing that I don't get. So besides the buyout, why did the Mavs trade Porzingis? That was weird.
I think there's a thing with him and Doncic. I think there's a
butting of the heads.
There's a butting of the heads where they thought those two guys would be perfect for each other.
Yeah,
because they could play off each other. But I think they're realizing that Porzingis is not a guy that's going to be. I don't think Porzingis was ever truly invested in the NBA. Right? He seems like a guy that was like always talented from the time he was, and I won't say little, but always from the time from the time that he was 5'5".
By the time he was 6'5" in third grade.
Right? Like he seems like a guy who just doesn't really is good at basketball, but doesn't really love playing the game.
Yeah, and he's not going to love playing in Washington because they stink.
Right.
So
this is now what this will be his third team in 4 seasons, I think. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, so.
No, he was drafted by the Mavs.
No, he was drafted by the Knicks.
Oh shit! I forgot about that. He was drafted by the Knicks.
From the Knicks to the Mavs, and then to Washington.
Yeah, to Washington. I forgot that dude. I forgot he was on the Knicks. Jesus Christ! Right. Yeah, because he broke his leg or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot all about that. Sorry.
And that was the year that they he refused to come work out for the Sixers.
Yeah.
And that was the year that they took who's the guy from Duke? Okafor.
Yeah, Jahlil Okafor.
Huh. Yeah. I mean, Rich, even a guy like Eric Bledsoe, right?
I like Eric Bledsoe.
Those are and another guy that I wouldn't mind them taking a look at is a guy like Gary Harris, right? A guy who's an outside shooter, right? And anybody who can extend that wing a little bit, because I really think that Harden coming in and being that 1B scorer to Embiid's 1A, I think slots Harris as where he should be, right? He should be your third best scorer. But I think they're going to be busy. I think they're going to bring in at least 2, maybe 3 guys. But I think they're going to be guys that are going to be. I'm just excited. I haven't really felt this way about them bringing in a player. Like what was the last time you felt like this as a guy? Like when they brought in a guy,
Dikembe Mutombo. Not even kidding, because that's pretty much the only time I can realize like when they actually brought in a guy. I mean, yeah, the Jimmy Butler thing was great, but it was so short-lived. And to me, like it really doesn't resonate. Like that whole time period to me, like for some reason with Jimmy Butler is just kind of like a blur. Like I loved it at the time, and then the next year I thought that, and it just, I guess because it didn't mesh. And it just it just seemed so out of place. And maybe that was Ben Simmons' fault. Maybe it's because they just couldn't do it. Because I mean, I remember the big sports, the Sports Illustrated cover. So I'm going to say, dude, when Dikembe came to this team, I loved it. Him and AI, that was fucking great. But honestly, this is the most excited I've been. This is the most, like hands down in my life for the Sixers, the most excited I've been.
I think they're a team that now is elevated for the next at least 3 seasons as an upper echelon going to compete for the East type of team, which, for me as a Sixers fan, right, you weren't there last week. This time last week, you could not say that, and now you can. So I'm just excited what everything that Harden is going to bring.
I agree.
Chris brings up the NBA All-Star game.
Yes, skills competition, my favorite part.
Okay, what about the skills competition do you love? Because Jason and I talked about this with the NHL All-Star game too.
I love like the point guard challenge. Like I love that. I love saying I love the celebrity All-Star games because they're always fun. I'm not big with the dunk contest because it's kind of the same regurgitated shit. And some guys just get higher and go longer. Like the dunk contest doesn't do it for me. But I just like the skills, like the overall skills competitions with the point guards. Like to me, that's fun. The 3-point contest is kind of whatever because the NBA is now a 3-point contest. But the game is cool because you get to see the level of talent in the scorers. And that's pretty much it. Like other than that, I'm just like, I used to be huge when it was Vince Carter in the dunk contest and shit like that. But nowadays, I'm just like, I don't get up for it.
And to me, I'm in the same boat. Like I enjoy the Saturday night much more than I probably I might tune in for a hot minute on the game, but I'm more in tune on Saturday night than I am on Sunday. I'll watch. I love watching the skills competition stuff. If they really wanted to bring back and elevate that and take it back to where it was, you have to somehow convince the upper echelon talent to participate.
Yeah.
As long as it's the B level talent, it's always going to feel like it's a B level competition.
Yeah. No, I agree. It doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't move the needle. No. I can't tell you the last time I actually sat down and watched a Pro Bowl or NHL All-Star game or an NBA All-Star game, because I don't like the NHL's new rules for the All-Star game. I think it's kind of whack. The skills competition is great. Fastest guy, hardest shot, precision. Like, that shit is so much fun.
I would be okay with the All-Star game in the NHL if it were 5-on-5.
Yeah, it has to be 5. That's what I'm saying. I don't like the 3-on-3 with 3 different teams. I think it's weird.
It just feels fake. Weird.
Yeah, it's not real hockey. It's not how hockey should be played.
Oh, Rich, Super Bowl.
Honestly,
what are your thoughts on the Super Bowl?
I was pretty drunk. Not gonna lie, I was pretty drunk. I am going to tell you, which after I put in 2 7-game parlays or 7 pick parlays, after Joe Mixon rushed for 70 yards when I had him under 59 and would have won a lot of money just on that bet, and then Tyler Boyd ruined another one for me. I actually turned the Super Bowl off, because to me, and Nick knows I'm not a Stafford fan. I love the fact that Matt Stafford got out. I wanted to see him win one. But the Chiefs, not the Chiefs, yeah, the Chiefs. The Bengals just
they turned it up.
They didn't score over 28 points in the playoffs. How do you expect to win? Like, Jamar Chase is a phenomenal player. And I think I ate my words when I said never mind, they shouldn't. They should have drafted him. They should not have drafted him. Joe Burrow was running for his life.
Yeah. After
the first quarter, was running for his life. And that's how it's going to be if they don't go out there and they don't get next year. I think here's the problem with the Super Bowl this year with the Bengals. I think it was their Eagles year, that lightning in a bottle, everything lined up. They're not going to get back to that spot.
No,
I do not see them getting back to that spot anytime soon, because Josh Allen is going to go crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be such an uphill battle for them.
They're done. And it's sad to say, but there's a reason why there's only been one first-round wide receiver who was drafted by his team who made an impact in winning a Super Bowl. Who's the player, Don?
Oh, Jesus. How far do I have to go back?
Not far. 2 years.
2 years. What the fuck am I missing here?
Who won the Super Bowl last year?
The Bucks?
Yeah.
Godwin?
Nope.
Evans. Mike Evans.
Mike Evans. And he's been on that team for how long?
Good God.
That's why drafting a wide receiver in the first round is a great weapon, but it's not a necessity. They needed an offensive line. They should have lost the game in KC when he was sacked 9 times, and then he sacked, I believe, 7 times in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the stars aligned for their deficiency and the best part of the Rams.
Yeah.
Right? Their front 7 and the offensive line for the Bengals could not have been more polar opposite in skill level.
Yeah.
And listen, that I was one who self-reflecting questioned, are the Rams doing the right thing by literally selling every draft pick they had for the next 12 years.
And they did.
Right.
They got what they wanted.
Now that looks like a super smart move, right? They got exactly where they wanted to be. They traded number 1 picks for top level elite talent.
Yeah.
And they're selling now, and it's paying off. When you line up Von Miller and you line up Aaron Donald and you put Jalen Ramsey and you bring back, that Christ's sake, they pulled Eric Weddle off the scrap heap.
And he was their leading tackler in the Super Bowl and played with a torn pec in 2 spots.
That I saw today. That was nuts.
Dude's an animal. Respect to Eric Weddle.
Yeah, seriously. Like I just look at all that and I'm like, that makes a ton of sense. But I feel for Joe, like Joe Burrow, as good as he is, that could have been his one shot, right? That could have been his.
And I think it is, because Josh Allen is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes is going to get another wide receiver, whether it be OBJ or whether they go out there and they actually draft another wide receiver to take pressure off of Hill and Kelsey. Their running game got established with McKinnon. They just need to fine tune.
Going anywhere.
Yeah, Herbert's only getting better. That team's only getting better. So if Aaron Rodgers goes to Denver
or Pittsburgh, or
who the fuck are they going to be? Who are they going to be?
Right.
Eli Apple talked all this shit and got fucking roasted. And my problem with that is
he got roasted by
everybody. Because what I've come to realize is Eli Apple is a jerk off. Is what I've come to realize, and every wide receiver hates him because the dude's ego can't fit on my computer screen because he thinks he's that good. So dude just seems like an asshole. Take pride in what you do, but when everybody in the league knows you're trash, just stay humble, which I understand a lot of people don't want to do. But let's talk about Matt Stafford for a little bit. He was not good until that last drive. Yes, it's when it counted, but he was
very pedestrian. Yeah,
he was
very pedestrian.
Man, the no-look pass was the best pass of his career. I give him that. But he was absolutely atrocious the whole game. He could not adjust when OBJ was out. He could not adjust. He was fucking.
You saw that took almost 2 full quarters for them to figure out how to adjust the offense. And Rich, that flip right at the end of the first half and the beginning of the second half, right? I thought that to me, if I'm the Bengals at that point, right? At that point, you got to step on their throat.
Yeah.
Right. You got to figure out that next drive when you get the ball back, you got to figure out a way to put more points on the board. But you let them hang around long enough, right? And that, like, coming out of halftime, that one play to Higgins, right, where 75 yards, touchdown, right? Like, instantaneously, you took all the air out of their sails coming out of halftime.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, to me, out of all of, if you lined up all of the playoff games from this postseason, it was like a meh kind of game compared to.
I can get into it.
Compared to the 4 games during the divisional round, the 2 games during the AFC and NFC championship games, right? Those 6 games were phenomenal.
Yeah.
This game was like a
If I didn't have bets in on it, and that's pretty much it. Like, I literally turned it off with 3 minutes left because I didn't care. I'm like, well, there goes my shot at winning money. I'm not invested on who wins. I don't care. I'm not a fan of either of these teams. And I turned it off, just sat there, and then people were like, oh, the Rams won. And I'm like, I didn't even see the last play.
Rich, 2 quick things before we do final thoughts. 1, halftime show.
I loved it.
It was great.
I loved
it. Great. Very, very nostalgic.
Took me back. That's all I needed. Took me back. Wow.
It was 15 minutes of me recalling every Eminem, Dr. Dre, Snoop lyric. I was like, wait, I know this one. That's not the real lyrics. Can't say that one.
Can't say that on TV.
It was.
I loved every minute of it.
It was just great. It was great. It was entertaining. And for our generation, right? That was nostalgic to be able to go back to the prime when the West Coast was elite. It was super cool.
It was.
And then, Rich, did you happen to see the the Rams Super Bowl parade today. Rich, it looked like a Tuesday on Broad Street.
It was barren.
Oh, Rich, there were like they had like the whole parade route like gated off, and there were like
People just walking.
there were literally 2-3 people deep. Right, there were sections where there was nobody. There, you literally saw people like starting at one block and just following the parade as it was going around.
Welcome to LA.
And then they showed somebody had showed a couple of the previous parades. Like they showed the Eagles parade side by side, and it was like that scene in the art museum where like it's literally just a sea of hundreds of thousands of people.
Oh yeah.
And then the one that looked like it was like the Mickey Mouse parade at noon down Main Street.
I'm gonna have to look it up because for me, that's why I can't play in a non-sports town. Like if I was an athlete, I couldn't play in a non-sports town. I don't care if it's LA and the lore and the lifestyle. It's like, dude, you win, they don't care. Like you win, they don't care. There's no investment. How many of those celebrities and those people are really fans? Not many of them. So I'm good. Give me a diehard sports town.
Right, like that good. And Rich, that was part of my rooting interest from Cleveland, or not from Cleveland, from Cincinnati.
Yeah, because they actually cared. Agreed.
Oh, Adam, thanks for tuning in.
Adam.
All right, Adam hit. Oh, he had. All right.
Good for you, Adam. Look at you, bud. Winning some shillings. I like it.
Final thoughts, Rich.
Pesos. A couple. Final thoughts are just when you love people and you see them, give them solid goodbyes and solid hellos. Don't just go, oh yeah, I love you. Say it. Just, take the time. 2-minute embrace. Say, hey, I love you. Thanks for everything you're doing for me. Hope the rest of your week is good. And, always love you. Like, say things like that to people. I know it's funny and, people just want to say, like, it's cool. And you can just be like, yeah, a quick embrace and that's it. It's like, yeah, but you never know when's going to be the last. So when you do things, just do them out of love, especially if you really do claim you love that person. Just, just be in the moment with that person. It's something I'm going to do from now on. And it's something that, you can't take every day for granted. You just can't, because you might wait. You might go to sleep and not wake up.
Yeah.
Too many questions left unanswered. Too many I love yous left on the table, and too much anger left in your heart. And that's not the way you want to go. So love the ones you got, hold them close, and let them know how much they mean to you. That's it.
Oh, Rich, speaking of love, the amount of the outreach and support that we've gotten from the Belly Up Network has been really great. There's a really good community of people supporting one another. Huge shout out to anybody and everybody who finds us entertaining. Rich, in the last month, our podcast has been downloaded over 2,100 times.
What?
We got love, Rich. We're getting love. So awesome. Just shout out to everybody and everybody who's listening, who's tuning in, wherever you're tuning in. And I got a special request, Rich. We have downloads from the United Kingdom, Russia, and Papua New Guinea.
Papua New Guinea? Let's go.
I don't know how. I don't know where. But if you are in the United Kingdom,
yes,
or in Papua New Guinea,
yes,
or in Russia, or somewhere outside of the United States, do me a favor.
Reach out.
Send us a DM. I want to send you some kind of merch, something. I
want to get you on. I want to get you on. Like that would be so much fun.
So if you're hearing this and you're somewhere in the world other than the continental United States, man, let us know. Would love to reach out and talk to someone across the world.
Yeah.
Send you some drunk on broad gear.
Wasn't Germany and Afghanistan like our two number ones on what was the site on Anchor?
On Anchor, we had people from Afghanistan, from Germany. There's some crazy spots, right? So now
this is so goofy. I love it.
But if you're somewhere in the world and you're listening to us, man, reach out, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. With that, Rich, you can find us anywhere and everywhere your podcasts are. Find us on YouTube, find us on iTunes, wherever you find your podcast. Look us up. Just looking forward to being able to see and talk to people about what's going on in Sixers land. So, go check out our sponsors.
And baseball season might not be right around the corner. So,
and Rich,
stay tuned.
All that to be discussed on a future Drunk on the Fightins episode.
Yeah, if we have any.
All right, everybody. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you next week.
Philly in the world. Peace out.
Later.